And good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome around the globe to Kangen Water Radio. Uh, Featuring, sorry, got distracted, the Kangen Water Health and Information International Call, where we consider, clarify, and often correct the conventional wisdom around Kangen water technology, the different machines, the science behind water types, uses, and benefits, the testing process, the maintenance and cleaning of the machines, and much, much more. We also explore a plethora of other topics as we teach, promote, and discuss the three-pronged approach to health and wellness: hydration, detoxification, and complete macro and micronutrition. I'm family physician Dr. Lisa Battle Singletary, your virtual keto coach, and I will be joined by my co-host and fearless leader, Mr. Terrence Hope, Enagic 6A distributor extraordinaire, and together we bring you the best of both worlds. All right, this is call number 415. Can I say it again? This is call number 415, and it is Wednesday, August the 11th. And I'm so glad for all of you that have joined us here today. Looks like Mr. Hope jumped out of the call, so I will then go first with my topic today, and we're talking about how the body maintains pH. We talk about pH a lot on this call. We talk about it almost every call, one way or another. But I just want to give you an idea of how, I have tried to convey, I'll put it that way, how much energy the body spends on maintaining the pH of the various water compartments. But I want to talk about just overall today, how the body maintains pH. And when I say overall, I'm not even scratching the surface of it. It is so complex. And I'm not even touching what happens when there's too much glucose in the bloodstream, or when there are different toxins or chemicals involved. So we're just talking about regular old acid-base homeostasis right now. And there's nothing regular or old about it. So let me go to my PowerPoint. So let's see, I got a couple of them here. And so I'm going to show you a PowerPoint, and I have two, maybe three really good articles to share with you. So let's talk about how the body maintains pH, and we're going to talk about 3 ways today. Okay. Juanita, give me a thumbs up. Is my screen sharing? Okay, awesome, perfect. All right. So, first of all, let me say this. When people talk about the pH of the body, quote unquote, they're usually referring to the pH of the blood. And really, that's the only pH that we can reliably get. I mean, you can get saliva, you can get the pH of your urine, and there are many, many reasons why those pHs, those measures are not really reliable when we're talking about what's going on in the body. But the pH of the bloodstream, it's easy to get. I mean, not easy for us to get, but it's easy for scientists to test it. You might have heard of an arterial blood gas. Now, arterial, when I say it's not easy, it's not like just getting your blood drawn. That is a venous puncture. That's a stick of a needle into your veins, which are very much more superficial than your arteries. So to get an arterial puncture, it's not difficult, but there is much more of a learning curve than with a venous stick. And there is a little bit more pain involved because that needle is going deeper into the tissues. But having done it many times, it's something that people will, let's say, volunteer for a study, or if they're in the hospital and they're doing a study, they'll say, okay, get a blood gas, and they can study the pH of the blood under different circumstances. Now, the pH of your organs can be very different. The pH of your different cellular compartments can be very different. The pH of your interstitial fluid, the pH of your like I said, the fluids that are exposed to the exterior can be very different, but the pH of your blood is very standard, and we usually say 7.4, or there's a range between 7.35 and 7.45. And in a very simplified overview, there are three main ways your blood pH is regulated. And that is by your kidneys, your lungs, and the buffers in your blood. And I want to highlight one of the buffer systems today. And these three, we're going to do them in reverse order, because we're going to go by which ones happen more quickly, and then go to the next most rapid responder, and then to the third. And they are actually, like I said, in reverse order. So let's go to the buffers first. So the major buffer system in the body is this carbonic acid buffer system. And it works so well, and it's able to respond so quickly because there are two, there are a lot of, this might look like scientific gobbledygook, but there are a lot of things in this equation. Well, it's not an equation, but these arrows, these big arrows, should be going back and forth, because this goes both ways depending on what are the circumstances of the blood. But we see this here, CO2, that's carbon dioxide, right? That's what we breathe out. That's what our cells, every cell is constantly, as a result of metabolism, producing carbon dioxide. When that carbon dioxide hits water, it forms carbonic acid. And carbonic acid, which is the buffer, it's a weak acid. So, there are weak acids, there's strong acids that would like burn us, but the carbonic acid is a weak acid, so the body can handle it. And it breaks up very rapidly into, well, this looks familiar, right? A hydrogen ion. And this is a bicarbonate ion. And you might not have seen this in this particular form, but I'm sure you've heard the word bicarbonate in multiple times. But this is not the bicarbonate that's absorbing the odors in your fridge. That is sodium bicarbonate, or baking soda. This does not have sodium. This is just bicarbonate, and that can combine with the hydrogen ion. It can combine with sodium because a sodium ion has a positive charge, and the positive charge attracts the negative charge. And that's why, depending on how much of stuff is around, it'll push the equation back one way or another. But there's not going to be a test at the end. You're gonna, I just want you to have an understanding of how amazing the body is at maintaining pH. And then we're going to have a couple of articles related to that later. Okay, so we're going to start with the buffers. What are buffers? Buffers are chemicals that resist changes in pH. So whenever there's a change in, let's go back to this slide, acid or carbon dioxide in the body, this buffer, carbonic acid, will respond very rapidly. The second mechanism is your lungs. Your lungs compensate within minutes. Now, I don't know if you've ever dealt with anyone that was having a panic attack, but they tend to hyperventilate, they breathe too fast, right? And if that goes on for too long, they can really affect their body's pH, and that's not good. So what do? We give them we used to do this a lot. We'd give them a paper bag to breathe into, and that way, even though they're panting, blowing out all their carbon dioxide, well, if they're blowing it into a paper bag, they can rebreathe some of that carbon dioxide. I guess we're doing that now with masks, but they rebreathe their carbon dioxide, and then that tends to break that cycle, because if you're breathing slower, then more carbon dioxide is retained in the body, and that causes pH to go up. If you're breathing too fast, you're blowing out carbon dioxide. And well, let's look at this formula. If everything is at equilibrium and you get rid of carbon dioxide, you blow it off, then that's going to pull everything in this direction, and the hydrogen are going to be affected. And so the pH of the blood is going to be affected. All right, your kidneys are amazing. Many functions they do. They affect your blood cell development with erythropoietin. They affect your blood pressure with renin, and they affect so many different systems of your body. But because of their ability to excrete either hydrogen ions or bicarb, the kidneys can respond to a difference in pH in your bloodstream. So if your pH is too low, the kidneys will excrete hydrogen ions and retain bicarbonate. If your pH is too high, then the kidneys will retain the hydrogen ions to bring your pH down and will excrete bicarbonate. But that is a longer reaction time in the body than the first two. So how does this look when we put it all together? Well, if there's too much acid in the body, so this is a state of acidosis, so your blood pH is less than 7.35. Okay, now 7.35 is still technically a basic or alkaline pH, but for the body, for the blood, it is outside of that normal range. Well, it is right on the line of that normal range. So anything lower is considered acidosis, even though it's in one way technically alkaline. So for some reason, we've had too much acid into the bloodstream. What do the lungs do? They blow off carbon dioxide, and the kidneys secrete out hydrogen ions. Now, like I said, there are a lot of other things going on, but those are the two big ones. That's the response to acidosis. What's the response to alkalosis? If the pH in the body is too high, then there's not enough hydrogen to balance that, to bring the pH back down below 7.45. So we need to get rid of No, the pH is too high, right? So what the kidneys will do is they will secrete the bicarb, and that way the hydrogen can build up in the blood and bring the pH back down. And the lungs, the respiratory rate will decrease. So you're not blowing off as much CO2 at one time. Again, allowing the blood pH to come back down to a to become more quote unquote acidic, to come back down to the range 7.35 to 7.45. So what's the takeaway from this? Your lungs, your kidneys, the proteins in your blood, the things you eat, what you're drinking, all of these things can affect your blood's pH, but your body works very, 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 very hard. It expends a lot of energy to keep the pH in the normal range, 7.35 to 7.45. All right, so let me see if I can show you a couple of articles that will be really helpful to you, very practical. Let's try this one. Okay, so first I want to show you, if you want to get more of a written explanation of what I've been talking about, Healthline.com has this great article on acid-base balance. Now, it's kind of old, 2017, but not a lot has changed as far as the mechanisms. We've known a lot about these mechanisms. But I also want to show you at the end of this article, and you can see all of this information it gives you on alkalosis and acidosis and alkalosis. There's another article at the end, pH imbalance, how your body maintains acid-base balance. So it gives you even more, and this article is 2018, so the subsequent year, how your lungs and kidneys maintain pH balance, the disorders, etc. And I just found both of these articles to be very interesting, very helpful. And since we mentioned bicarbonate soda, which is the bicarbonate ion with a sodium. So sodium bicarb, I actually made a mistake there. I didn't add the sodium to it. So sodium bicarbonate, that's what's in your fridge, absorbing odors. I found this article, 22 benefits and uses for baking soda. And I put this up for two reasons. One, there are some people that say that it's healthy to take a certain amount of baking soda every day. And I just want to make sure we understand that sodium bicarbonate is not the same as the bicarbonate that the body uses in that buffer system. But I also want to give you another perspective on this. So the number one reason, or the number one use they put up here for sodium bicarbonate, is to treat heartburn. Actually, we've talked about this on the call. This is not necessarily the way you want to go, because of two reasons. Number one, what this is treating is not, so what is heartburn? All right, let's back up. What is heartburn? Heartburn is irritation in the esophagus when your lower esophageal sphincter, that's the muscle that separates, and it's just a saddle of muscle, like just a loop of muscle that separates the lower end of your food pipe, your esophagus, from the stomach, from the entrance to the stomach, which is at the top of the stomach. And when your stomach acid hits a certain level, that sphincter tightens up so that your stomach can pump out the acid to start the digestion process, the chemical digestion, well, continue the chemical digestion process. It really starts in the mouth. But if that acid isn't enough, that is not the only factor. This is also a complex factor, how that lower esophageal sphincter actually closes. But there's evidence, I'll put it that way, that if your stomach acid is not strong enough, that sphincter does not close properly, and there can be splashback from your stomach contents into your esophagus. Now, your stomach has an epithelial lining that is designed to handle that acid, but your esophagus does not. So that acid, even if it's weak in your stomach, will burn your esophagus. That's heartburn. So by taking bicarbonate of soda, the sodium bicarb, that does neutralize the acid that's in the esophagus, but it doesn't stop there. It goes down to the stomach. So it starts neutralizing acid in the stomach, and that is exactly what we don't want to happen, because when your stomach acid is neutralized, you are not going to start your digestive process with as much strength. So larger molecules are hitting your intestines. And Saturday, I'm going to be talking about leaky gut syndrome. And that is one of the contributing factors to leaky gut syndrome. Okay, so baking soda, good for the esophagus, not so good for the rest of the digestive system. What should you do, or what is an alternative to taking antacids or proton pump inhibitors, things that will block the acid? Well, actually, this is counterintuitive, but we've talked about this before. What you need is more acid. So taking some, actually this happened to me. I had this horrible heartburn. I don't remember what I ate, but that combined with stress, and I was at my parents' house. I'd been taking care of them for a couple of years, and I didn't have, my medical clinic that I could just reach, into the sample closet and get something that would help. I had nothing, but I had heard, this was before I was really, really into natural medicine. I had heard that vinegar would help, and we didn't, or acetic acid, and we didn't have any vinegar in the place. But I remembered, pickle juice is basically vinegar with other spices. And my dad loves pickles. I was like, I bet we have some pickles. So we had some pickles. I took about 2 tablespoons of pickle juice, and instantly my symptoms went away. I don't know. I couldn't believe it myself, because I hadn't been taught this in medical school, and I hadn't been using it on people. So I didn't know, really what the effect would be, but I was desperate. So I needed something, and I was shocked at how well that worked. So more acid is what is needed. So, and that's why a lot of times you have pickles as a side dish for certain meals. It helps with the stomach acid and with the digestion. Okay. So other than that, I'm going to let you on your own look up this article, and the article link, I will put it in the show resources. So when you go to Kangen Water, when you go to YouTube and look up Kangen Water Radio and find this or any of our videos, in the description, I link all of the articles, and I will put my PowerPoint in here. And I did find a couple of videos that I liked And if I can find them again, I'll put them in the call resources as well. All righty. So yeah, that's just a little bit about, I see your hand, Aida. So that's just a little bit about acid, how your body maintains, and when I say body, I do mean blood, how your blood maintains pH between 7.35 and 7.45. All righty. So we do have our fearless leader, Mr. Terrence Hope, Enagic 6A distributor extraordinaire with us. And if you are available, Mr. Hope, why don't we bring you in to the discussion?
Love to. And by the way, is my audio okay?
Your audio sounds great.
Really?
Uh-huh. It does.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to pin you, but I'm trying to add you. Maybe it won't let me do it. See if you can add pin. I don't have that function.
Oh, pin myself.
Hopefully.
Wop, wop. How's that for a pin? No?
I don't see you. I mean, I see you in the small at the top, but carry on. I will remove my pin and there you are.
Wop, wop. You know, Dr. Secretary, I am so very glad that you picked up this subject matter today because it is the pivotal key piece of information that people need to know to understand the Kangen water machines, to understand more about their own health, to understand about their pH. Yeah. So often, all these years, people have been calling Kangen alkaline water. Yeah. And thinking that the body was alkaline. They had to drink alkaline water. They had to eat alkaline foods in order to stay healthy. And, you know, as you're pointing out how the blood maintains its pH, you know, people are thinking, oh, well, you know, I've got to eat alkaline foods because I heard that you need alkaline foods and alkaline water, and you need alkaline juices in order for your body to stay alkaline. And that's how you stay healthy. They'll say they heard, right? And, you know, there's a lot of information out there that really gets, you know, the issues kind of skewed. Sorry, it's clearing the air around here a little bit. Hit myself in the eye on an accident. You know, it's not quite, the accurate answer is what you're talking about. The body is self-regulating. It maintains its own blood pH. It takes care of that on its own. So there's no need to try to eat an alkaline food or alkaline beverage or alkaline water, you know. And so I remind people certain things all the time. So, you know, this is a little pH chart to complement what you just talked about in terms of how the body maintains its blood pH. And if you noticed on this chart for everyone out there are different pHs for different organs. So the stomach is in the acidic range, 1.0 to 3.5. Noted here as gastric secretions. The blood, as Dr. Singletary is saying, 7.35 to 7.4 is the range, you know. But let's jump over to, let's say, the saliva. It's in the acidic range to the alkaline range, depending on the stage of digestion. Look down here at the urine. That's a 4.5 to 8.0. Depending what's going on in your detox, you got an acidic range to an alkaline range. So when people say that the body is alkaline, it's not quite accurate, although well-meaning. They just were not given the right information. And, you know, here we look again at the small intestines and again at the large intestines and see how they're 4.0 to 7.0 pH. So that's more the acidic range to neutral. So as Dr. Singletary is pointing out, the body is not entirely alkaline. Even Kangen water, although it's called alkaline water, is not alkalizing your body. Its pH is an indication of the detoxing ability that the water has for the body. Because now, if you can detox successfully, you could eliminate the toxic substance that would get in the way of your body maintaining all these proper pH ranges in all the different organs. Yeah. So we have to stay keen on that. Here it says pH values of the human body. Dr. Singletary mentioned the blood pH, 7.35 to 7.4. It says here fluids in the human body function to provide digestion, lubrication, nutrient and oxygen transportation, and protection. To perform these functions, the acid levels must be varied to match the bodily function overall of the organ. Overall levels of acidity or alkalinity are measured on a pH scale and must be carefully controlled in each body fluid or each organ. So this talks about the body's ability and function to maintain pH balance on its own. So I know we talk about Kangen water, what it is, how it works within the body. It's a detoxing function. And then your body being self-regulating maintains its own pH in all the organs. Something is in my ear. Kangen water, what really is it? The science definition is electrolyzed reduced water. Electrolyzed reduced water. And electrolyzed reduced waters means a water that's hit by electricity, created in a process known as electrolysis. So we've got electrolyzed reduced water. That's what the science name in Kangen water is. It's made in a process called electrolysis, where electricity comes in contact with water and causes the production of antioxidant ions, molecules that bond together. Electricity, as exhibited in this lightning strike, will hit your water. Here's your H2O, and here's kapow, electricity hitting the water. That will then produce a division in the water molecule, which will then lead to additional ions being produced in the process. So water hit by lightning divides into segments of H2O to its elements of OH and H plus. And you end up with a structure like this, where water molecules are bonding to the element of water known as a hydroxide ion. Might be a big term there, but when H2O breaks down into two parts, you get H2O turning into two elements, OH and H plus. These are H part of the water molecule breaking down to two. So you get this production of this hydroxide ion. That hydroxide ion has an alkaline pH to it. We use it as a kind of a measuring tool of the overall volume of antioxidant ions in water at a time. Yeah. So your body is detoxing for that purpose. I give this example of the animals in the wild because the body is self-healing. And if you ever think about it, all the animals in the wild never go to a doctor, never seem to have obesity issues, never seem to go to the same chronic illnesses that humans do. So here's a deer, an elk, here's some foxes, squirrels, a badger, some quails, squirrels, swans. You never see any of them going to a dialysis center to get their blood siphoned. Humans could do that when they get kidney failure. And we explain kidney failure in another call. Toxins build up. And one can say that they have a different physiology than humans, but we also know that they're used in animal trials in clinical research for human medications, the medications that are used on humans. One thing I can say is that they have a different intake of food than we do. They eat produce, protein, and water. Produce, protein, and water, which is fruits, vegetables, grains, whatever, grass, protein, which is of course each other, and water, whatever is available. If you have the proper nutrition, your body will take care of itself. And most of the places where these animals live are not farmed. They live in wildlife preserves or jungles or the forests of some of the suburbs of America. And those places are never farmed. So yeah, you have a mineral-rich soil, which is growing a nutrient-rich produce. And with that, they stay healthy. Humans, what do we eat? Skittles, Twizzlers, birthday cake, potato chips, fried foods, Coca-Cola. I mean, we're exactly as Coca-Cola in the food chain. So we get a lot of things in our body that can cause a lot of toxicity. And we have to remove that toxicity to get back to this origin of nature where the body can be healthiest. You know, if you get a scratch in your finger or a cut on the hand, you put a little Band-Aid on it to keep it, clean, so that as it heals itself, it heals, it heals well. We know that our skin heals itself. Nothing for us to do, but, wash it off and keep it moving, yeah? If there's a large fracture in a bone or a full break, which would be unfortunate, we know that we just put a cast on the bone to keep it still, so that as it heals itself, it heals evenly, yeah? So from the surface of the skin to the depths of the bones, we know the body is self-healing. But what we didn't know is that that same self-healing ability will continue right down to the cellular level in the body, as long as you're properly detoxed, hydrated, and nourished. Now, an example of what our little animals are doing here is what we need to get back to. So our bodies can become toxic. Just a nice little example of a fish tank. If you're a pet owner and keep fish, you have to keep that tank clean. Otherwise, the toxic levels can build up so high that the fish can't get oxygen and they're in a bad environment. Humans, the same way. Remove toxicity, the body can function properly. The body is mostly water, and the kind of water you have in your body can dictate your health. In this case, our water, as electrolyte reduced water, Kangen, is a detoxing water. And if you have that kind of water in your body can detox more thoroughly. And try to eat better. Get away from those junk foods, people. Produce and protein, more the way to go. Yeah. So just a few notes on water, what it is in Kangen, and how it's beneficial for you. You can find excerpts on electrolyte reduced water on the National Library of Medicine at NIH, National Institutes of Health, that talk about the different benefits of electrolyte reduced water, and there are a plenty. Yeah. So change your water, change your life, drink Kangen water. It's excellent for your body. Back to you, Dr. Singletary. Oh, you might be muted, by the way. Oh, okay.
I got my double mutation going on.
There you go. Double mutate. That's what I'm talking about.
So Aida has her hand up. Let us welcome her to the call. I can't allow her to unmute. Can you allow her to unmute, Mr. Hope? I don't have that control.
Who's got the controls? Let me see. Aida, you are now allowed to unmute.
Hello. Oh,
Hi,
well, thank you.
Hi.
Good morning. Hello, Dr. Lisa and Terrence. I actually, my intention was to give you a thumbs up. When you said what your Saturday talk was going to be about, it wasn't to raise my hand, but
Okay.
I want to, yes, following on what Mr. Hope said, this was such a great topic because it really ties on with the Kangen water, what the Kangen water does. A lot of people say that alkalinity, that your body should not be alkaline, and then they question your stomach, and this was that the stomach acid, how could that be if when you eat food, all kinds of things. I know we've heard all that, So this was a great explanation and actually a refresher. I have heard this before from you and from others, but we forget, you know, so this was really, really good. And it's a topic, Dr. Singletary, that you should talk about more often.
I agree with you, Aida.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you know, that's for selfish reasons, though, you know, because I we really we have to explain to people why the water is not going to destroy the food that they are eating because of the alkalinity, you know, all that stuff. So anyway, thank you so much. I don't want to take any more time, but
Yeah,
thank you.
and
Thank you.
yeah, sure. Thank you, Aida. And you know, it's a really, really good point, you know, to be brought up, and glad you're emphasizing it, you know, with us. It's that the information that was given to us originally was well-meaning but not quite accurate. So we all ended up with the wrong explanation. So when a doctor would say, "Oh, that makes no sense," you are talking about alkalizing the body, and we're all saying, "Oh yeah, alkaline's good for you. Your body's alkaline. Drink alkaline water. Your body has to be alkaline to be healthy." Things like, you know, disease cannot exist in an alkaline environment, that type of thing. Well-meaning, but just, you know, not quite accurate. You know, we didn't know better. Some of us had opportunities, like I had opportunities to learn more about it, which led me in a different direction. You know, and it's because of that you know, this call actually got started, because people didn't really understand, you know, what the Kangen water was. So alkaline water, your body's alkaline, drink alkaline water to be healthy. Go to a doctor with that, and they don't know you're talking about electrolyzed reduced water. They only hear you talking about alkaline water. And to a, you know, to a biologist, alkaline water means you're taking minerals that are already alkaline and you're dumping them into water. And that then makes the water alkaline. And they know that that doesn't create an antioxidant water. You know, it's just an alkaline pH, and alkalinity does not dictate per se health benefits. Now, if you were to explain to them that it's an electrolyzed reduced water, of course, that would take you to have more information about what electrolyzed reduced water is. Then they would be able to, perhaps, if they chose to, research the matter on their own as to what electrolyzed reduced water is. And then they might have a better understanding that it's an antioxidant water and not an alkaline water. But that would take a stretch, you know, because they're not taught that in medical school. So even though there's plenty of information out there on there, it doesn't necessarily lead them in that direction. So we have to change the term we're using, and then of course understand it better. And like you said, we enjoy repeating it again and again, because the alkaline water explanation as a pH, you know, benefit has become so inundated in our societies worldwide that it would take a whole other momentum to shift it to the proper explanation to get it where it needs to be. But we're glad to be here and be vigilant, you know, on the subject, and be here every day and to try to bring the information so people understand better. So thank you.
Mr. Robe, I don't have the controls to
No?
lower Juanita's hand. Not Juanita, Aida's hand.
Oh, really?
Maybe you can.
Why don't you have the controls? You should have the power.
Yeah, there's a lot that I don't have when
Why?
on this.
Okay, I reset something. You should have the controls now. Yeah?
I'm looking. Yes, I think I do.
You've got the power.
So Juanita, please lower. Welcome to the call.
All righty. Can you hear me, Dr. Lisa?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay, we're going to do something different.
Yeah, what's with that audio you got going on these days, Juanita?
No, Mr. Hope. because I have nothing going on here and I'm hot. It's going to be 105 today. And I've got my Kangen water. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. I got my notebook here. I've been distracted. You see me with my arm up right here?
Yeah.
Something bit me. And what do I do but go get my beauty water?
No, use a strong acid water.
That too, but this is the closest.
So what's your question?
It's in the other room. Yes, I have several. Okay, we're doing the pH.
And you can make a paste with baking soda.
Yeah, baking soda. And that was really interesting about the pickle juice. I didn't realize that we could take a little pickle juice. You did mention something though, Dr. Lisa, about being able to reach over in your doctor's bag and grab samples. And I worked in the pharmacy, and I know that there's incentives given to doctors who will do that. So I just wanted to see if that's what you were aware of when you practiced. Did they give you?
Oh, they took the incentives away. I mean, before I graduated from medical school, they were giving ski trips to Switzerland, and but they did give me. Did I get a doctor? I might have gotten a stethoscope out of the deal, but you know, I had to buy my own doctor bag. I had to buy my own ophthalmoscope. I mean, they used to really set the doctors up. And they used to send them on trips and stuff. Then, you know, the pendulum swung back the other way. Now, well, by the time I left medical practice, the I guess the people who didn't like these incentives or what, you know, whatever, they didn't even want them to give us pens. So, and I love pens. So, you know, that I didn't get the full benefits of all the glory days of what the drug companies were giving us. But they did studies on prescribing practices and how, you know, when they come and give, oh, I used to love it when it was lunch day, you know, when the drug rep would give us lunch or something like that. But that, and I don't know if that's gone away. I don't know what the status is, but I know that there was a lot of squawking about that. You know, my main reason for prescribing was what I thought would benefit my patients, not who was coming to lunch or who was bringing us lunch that day. But there definitely are studies that used to show that the drug companies' gifts influenced prescribing practices. So I mourned the timing of taking all the good stuff away, but I understood. And
Talk about a conflict of interest.
Oh.
Well, Dr. Lisa, I was just the cashier in the pharmacy, so I didn't touch any of the open bottles. I could touch a closed bottle, but the pharmacist had like a stack of coupons at her little stand there, and it would be for free birth control or free. And you would think that if it wasn't prescribed by a physician, then you couldn't give away free coupons. It was like really confusing. Anyway, here's a question. How many animals were on the ark? That beautiful picture, Mr. Hope. And we've had this conversation. We're doing the Bible challenge every day at noon. If anyone would like to join us. And we were just.
Yeah, I don't know. I know there was 2 of each kind. I don't know the number.
That's a good one to research because they had to eat themselves. So they had to spare a male and a female. And they probably, it's pretty in depth. And the people that are doing the Bible challenge are with Enagic as well. They don't mention it, but they are. Okay, so at our church last Sunday, the question was the shedding of blood. There always has to be a shedding of blood for a sacrifice. And who was the first persons that God had to shed blood for, if I'm wording that right?
That's another, that's a discussion for another time and in another place, but there's more than one way to answer that question.
Well, I was shocked when the pastor said Adam and Eve. They had to kill an animal to make the clothing. And they
Sure.
were ashamed.
And that's one way to answer the question, but another is that the Lord was slain before the foundation of the world. So in the mind of God, it happened a long time before, but.
And then I wanted to show you this. Oh. And Dr. Lisa, and anyone else who could see. And I'm looking at everybody's names and we all look alike.
If they have bread on there, I don't want to see it.
The very bottom's water.
If they've got gluten, throw it out.
Water. I think it says electrolyzed reduced water.
Oh, I didn't see that.
A gentleman that I was dating at the time I got introduced to Enagic gave me this, and it's from the University of Michigan, Integrated Medicine.
Yeah.
I think it's the year 2012. The red is optional, the yellow is weekly and daily. So it does have the water, the fruits, the veggies. The third does say grains, but we don't. Then beans, and then seasonings, healthy fats, eggs, dairy, as we go up the chain, fish and seafood way up there weekly. No, we do that daily. Lean meats, and the very top is accommodations. What is that? And it's got soda pop.
All right.
Fascinating. That is what I wanted to share. And Adrian.
Well, when you look at our good food, bad food list, it's much more important to avoid the bad foods because they cause inflammation in the body. And the top bad foods are the foods that contain gluten: wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And we've talked about that a lot. So, but I did want to share with everyone, when you do look in the call resources, if you go back to call number 276, because sometimes we've hit a topic some way in our archives. Call number 276 was lemons, acidic or alkaline, acidic or alkaline. And we know they're acidic because of the acetic acid, but like Mr. Hope was saying, you can eat these different foods that may be acidic, but they have a good benefit in the body. So that was call number 276.
276. Okay. And that's all the questions that I have, but I have a comment. I have 3 caregivers and I'm entitled to so many hours a month. There you are, handsome Adrian. He's going to be my next caregiver. But the one that lives right here next door, she can't work because her stomach. And I see the food that they eat and the things that they drink. And people like me, have to pay the cost. I mean, I could get a replacement. I could make a phone call to the company that she got hired from and they'd send me, but then it takes you all day to train somebody, to get the rhythm. So I just hats off and thumbs up to people like Adrian, Mike, who's a 24/7 caregiver. And to my 3, they're very, very underpaid. They don't even make $20 an hour for what they do and what they're exposed to. Then they shut down, facilities from the COVID. When a child gets COVID, then the whole daycare center had to shut down. So then she could work all week.
All right. Okay. All
So
right.
Aida's got her hand up again.
Uh-huh. Thank you, Juanita.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Aida, did you?
Hello, yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I have heard that from some Menadic distributors, they recommend that when someone has the oh my gosh, the heartburn, that they should drink like a shot glass of 2.5 water. Is
When they
that
have when
equal?
they have a what issue?
Heartburn.
Yes,
Heartburn.
yes. The size of a shot glass, those whiskey ones for
Right.
of 2.5 water. So would that be equal, doctor, to the pickle juice and vinegar and all those things that you were mentioning, even though it tastes like a Clorox?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yes,
be okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
adding those protons, adding that acid
Yes.
to strengthen the acid in the stomach. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Hope. Looks like we have come to the conclusion of another. Well, yeah, I see what you typed in, Juanita, adding 9.5 to neutralize, and that's just what you don't want to do. You don't want to neutralize your stomach acid because that is part of the problem. When your stomach acid is not strong enough, then that sphincter doesn't close to keep the acid into the stomach, and the acid in your stomach does not function as well breaking down food. So
And she may have been I don't know if she was talking about this, but I remember people talking about taking the shots of 2.5.
well, that's what Aida said, but Juanita
yeah.
typed in the chat
Oh yeah.
that she
Because some
would
people
say
would tell they would.
9.5 to
Oh
neutralize.
yeah. Some people take the 2.5 as a shot to have a benefit in the esophagus or the mouth or the throat, maybe even I guess the stomach, and then they would follow that with the regular Kangen water 8.5 or so, behind it, So maybe she was referring to that. I don't know, but it's an approach that I've heard about before, but not really know the details of.
So, Juanita, did you want to give us more insight on that?
Dr. Singletary.
There we go. There we go. I had to unmute. Well, I might be backwards, and sometimes I'm a bit dyslexic, but I've been drinking this Kangen water for 12 years. And I can't tell you when the last time I felt any kind of heartburn. And I vary, from the 8.5 to the 9 to the 9.5, because wouldn't it neutralize? And maybe I'm using the wrong terms, but if I had a tummy ache, I would just drink 9.5 or one of the electrolyte reduced waters.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we were winding the call down. Any final comments, Mr. Hope?
Nope. Drink Kangen water. It's good for you. Enjoy it for you and your family and your friends.
All
Bye.
right. Well, I will say thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you on Saturday when we will be here, same Kangen time, same Kangen station. Thank you, Adrienne. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can call or text. Here are 3 numbers for the US, the UK, and the UAE, or you can email kwnation7@gmail.com. Also, let me get this out of the way. For the replay, you can go to YouTube and search Kangen Water Radio. And when you see around the title of the video. It's different when you're on your desktop or when you're on your phone, but you can get into the description box and you'll see all of the resources for the call, the articles, the PowerPoint. Sometimes I'll add, like the last call, I added, I don't know, 3 videos that went along with the subject. Also, when you do go to YouTube, please, please, please subscribe. We do want to build our channel. We want to build our reach in the interwebs. And so we ask you to do that, to subscribe, to like us, thumbs up, love us, whatever they let you do. All righty. So thank you for joining us today. And we will be here on Saturday with the topic of leaky gut syndrome.
That's gonna be hot.
That's the idea.
Ha, 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 ha.
All righty. So from Kangen Water Nation, we bid you all a wonderful rest of the week. We love you all, and we will see you on Saturday.
Oui, madame. We say adieu to you and you and you.
Yeah, but you got to do it. I don't have the power.
Wap, wap.